To create a VFX in Zimension, or how to use VFX in Zimension, it's pretty simple. For that, let me set up a project where these sort of settings will look very good. Zombie Rush is one of the very good template for that, but I'll start from the blank one. So let me name it VFX demo, and then I'll click on create. Okay, so right now the scene is very light, so let me turn it a bit dark. So first I'll change the environment to something like dark space, and for ground I'll simply use the plain ground and change the color to a black color. Okay, right, we still have some light in the scene, which is good, which is helpful. Okay, we need that, but let me also make it like bluish or something. Alright, so to add a VFX, first thing what we have to do is open library, and we have to switch the mode from models to VFX, and it will show you all these available VFX which you can edit at any point of time. For example, this fire is selected, so we can increase the size of the particle, and you can see it is like a fire. And you can change the size, or like how much time the particle stays alive before getting distinguished. Then you can adjust the random size of the particle. You can even adjust the gravity controls like how gravity impacts your particles. For example, if I reduce it, the particle will go more towards upward. We also have other settings. We have this aura, we have thunder. Okay, and some of the VFX will behave differently when it comes to WebGPU. When you see WebGPU, those sort of VFX works well in when WebGPU is turned on. Okay, we even have explosion, we even have smoke, right? So it's up to you, like where and how you want to use it. We even have like golden spark, we even have fireworks. Okay, and blood spatter, you can even change the color for any sort of impact. We have muzzle flash, then we have spray, which is like a continuous spray which you can control the velocity and everything, right? So first what we'll do is we'll add the VFX to the scene. So you can add these VFX as a standalone object. Okay, so I've added this. I'll adjust some of the parameters. Okay, so let me increase the size of the particle. Now it's looking like a pure fire. Okay, and to add to it, let us add another VFX on top of it, which will be smoke, to give it like more realistic look. I'll put the smoke over here, increase the size and even the scale of this VFX. Okay, right now it's not looking very good at the black background, so let me make the background like this. Okay, and change the color to kind of white. Yeah, now you'll be able to see it. Okay, the smoke and fire coming together. All right, so that's how you can add some sort of fire VFX. Then what about let's say you want to show some sort of explosion. Okay, so let me make this barrel explode. So what you can do is add another VFX of explosion like this. I'll increase the size and do some adjustment. You can play around with the type. Okay, increase the size again maybe, and you can increase the speed as well. Okay, you can always turn on the shadows, turn off the shadows to give it a realistic look. So that's how you can have an explosion. But what we'll do is this explosion, will show this explosion when the barrel you know disappears. So for example, first of all, what we'll make sure is the barrel is damageable. No, this is just an extra setting. So yeah, the spark is good, but on destroy will trigger one event which will be explode. Okay, and then in this VFX, so this VFX initially it's plays on like on start, but if you trigger this event, you can set up the explode. So the moment this barrel gets destroyed, it will trigger this event of explode and it will show this VFX. Also, what we have to do is we want to make the barrel disappear. Okay, so we will go to disappear on and select this event explode. Okay, but how are we gonna make this barrel, how we provide damage or how we add damage to this, right? So simple, you can add any gun. I'll just add this gun in the scene. Okay, and since the weapon settings are all in place, you can directly pick it and start shooting at the barrel and it's gonna explode. Okay, let me show you quickly why I'm showing shooting mechanism as well, because the VFX are part of shooting system as well. So you can see now we have a fire and muzzle fire VFX going around from the gun. So if I shoot, you can see you can add some sort of explosion. You can even see the fire here. Now let us play around with some particle effects. Okay, so let's say you want to make sure there's a place where there is a magic aura going around. Okay, so I'll select this and add to the scene. Okay, so right now it's looking like very small tiny particles, but I can always increase the size, even change the color. So to change the color, you can adjust these things. I'll make it more like greenish, and another color is more greenish blue. Okay, so that there is this magical what you can say. Let me add something. Yeah, this heart, I can change the color of this heart as green to match the aura. And these sort of effects you can make, like this, well, whether this is a power up or a health. Okay, so this is one way to use this effect. Then let me also show you some sort of spray. Okay, so yeah, let me add this spray. So right now it is acting in a burst mode, looping. Now it's gonna constantly spray it. Okay, and what we can also do is, again, first I'll increase the size of the particle. Okay, and maybe make them more random speed and increase the lifetime. Yes, now if I go to the velocity, I can increase the velocity in any direction. Let me show you. Okay, so this can be any sort of spray, some like magical spray or spark, right? I'll reduce the size a bit, then increase the random size. Okay, I can, if I adjust the gravity, you'll see like the impact. First let me reduce the speed to 0. Okay, now if I increase the gravity, you can see the particles will fall. If I decrease it, thus basically you can control the mass of these particles. You can even have this particle spiral around like this, right? And again you can change the color to anything that you like, and this way you can show like any sort of magic coming out, or some sort of spark is falling time and time again, or some magic, or any sort of thing. Okay, then we have emission rate. You can increase the number of particles. Of course, this can impact the performance, but you can always increase the number of particles, and you can also reduce it. So that's how cool, the VFX are in Zimension. But what if you want these VFX to be part of world items? Okay, so I'll show you one really good example of this. So if I go to the newest section, you see this campfire. These sort of library items are good examples of how you can combine VFX with a particular object. You can see this is a campfire where the VFX is playing. But let's say you want to add VFX to any sort of existing object. So for that, so one good example what we can do is, let me add this road roller. Okay, and it has this sort of emission area where we can attach a VFX. So what I'll do is I'll go to this VFX section, add a VFX, and I'll use this spray. I'll add a spray. Initially the spray is at the origin. Okay, so you can click this adjust button, move the spray over here, maybe rotate it like this. Okay, and apply. I'll just make it like continuous looping, and increase the size of the particles and change the color to more like something fire and smoke. So first make it like fireish and the other color as smoke. Right, let us also add another VFX, so you can add actually multiple VFX from it. So I'll add this smoke. Again, I have to adjust the smoke to the end. We will do one interesting thing with the smoke, because we want the smoke to go up. Okay, we'll play with the velocity here. In the Z direction, I'll increase the velocity like this, so that the sparks are coming down but the smoke is going up. Okay, and the best part of attaching the VFX is when you move the vehicle, the VFX moves with it. Okay, even to show that in action, what we'll do is we'll create a basic transition of this vehicle, which will be like, first we need to add couple of states. So this is state 1. I'll add another state. Okay, then another state where it rotates like this, and then come back to original position. Okay, so we'll create a transition from state 1 to state 2 to state 3 to state 4. And we will move the last state back to initial position. Yeah, something like this. Now let's see this in action. Yeah, okay, so we forgot to turn on the transition. Two things we missed is, first, in both the VFX, we need to turn the start on event, okay, even for this and this. And also for this transition, we need to select on start. Basically keeps the transition running from the very beginning of the game. So this way, even if the objects are moving, You can add VFX, attach VFX to it, and you can even trigger those VFX on different event, like how we have done for this barrel, like this. Okay, now the interesting part, the web GPU. And before going to web GPU, I'll show you like how beautiful this effects will look when we turn the post processing on. Okay, and we turn bloom on. Now let me play and show you. It will instantly have this shiny blooming effect. Okay, now let us turn the web GPU on, and when we turn web GPU on, it will instantly enhance couple of visual effects and also increase the able to play the correct visual effects. So again, I'll go to the setting and turn on web GPU. This will essentially reload everything. So now we have reloaded. Let me show you some of the web GPU based VFX. So first we have this stylized flame. So you can see this magical stylized frame that only supported in web GPU. And the particle size will be like the particle coming out of it. But the best part is we can change the color to anything. Okay, so it has this nice little white color into it, so it goes well with the low poly theme and all, right? Another important web GPU VFX is tornado. Okay, so you can scale it up, you can change the color. Let us add some monstrous red into it. Maybe the light one color is this. Yeah, like this. Yeah, so now it's looking like more fire-ish tornado. And of course, you can adjust the particles around it. So for particles, uh, we have this velocity. You can play around with the velocity of the spinning particle, increase the density, right? And that's how like this is the tornado effect. Okay, now let me show you another web GPU based artifact which will be commonly used a lot. So these are fireworks. Okay, so you can see with web GPU it comes with a trail. Okay, I'll increase the lifetime size and size and lifetime. Okay, we can decrease the speed to make it like more slow motion, but if we increase the speed, like the spread will also increase. Okay, so keeping on loop is not a good idea, so always make sure it is in the burst mode, and to toggle it we need some events. Okay, like this. So for that, what we can do is create a basic explode loop. Okay, so let me create an event called t1, right? And we will look t1 after t1. Okay, so we'll add a logic, and this logic essentially starts t1. Okay, and after t1 there will create another event t1 it will after like 1 second, so we'll create another event t2, and this t2 will be triggered after 2 seconds, and again the t2 will trigger t1 after 2 seconds. So these two events gonna trigger each other after 1 second. So yes, and then we will define, yeah, I think we already defined the event on which the fire bursting will. So many VFX going around, but what about fireworks? Okay, there it is. If you want to check like what events are happening, you can always press Ctrl Shift X, and it will show you like what events are triggering. You can see from t1 to t2 after some delay. So that's how you can use VFX in Zimension in various places and make your world more and more interesting and more visually appealing. Yeah, like this. One VFX that I left is thunder. So let me also show you that. Okay. So we can first we'll change the color, make the thunder more like bluish inside in color. So this is for the particle, but here, yeah, now this looks more promising. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it.